Charles is changing his name. He's going to be George Mountbatten, isn't he? He's going to change. He's going to change his first name and the royal lineage. But their real name is Mountbatten. It's not Windsor. Windsor was changed for the war. Well, because they didn't want a German-sounding name. That's lethal. No, Eliza, it's best game ever invented. Cricket.
Best game ever invented.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant. Baseball is a dumbed-down version, which makes it. Don't get me wrong, and that's not an insult. It makes it a more exciting game. On a temporary level. But cricket is a game of chess. The fact that it's played over 5 days, so you get 5 days to intimidate one man.
It's fine, isn't it?
One man can stay in bat for, you know, let's say 36 hours.
Right.
It's possible. The whole psychological battle between that guy and the guys that are aiming at his balls, or his head, or his shin, or, you know, trying to break his bones. They're not trying to just gently bowl to him. They're bowling at 100 miles an hour with a piece of concrete. There's what we call sledging, which is invented by the Australians primarily. It's the art of basically being nasty to people for about 3 days. Dirt off the ground rubbed into one side is not allowed. Spitting on it and polishing one side up is allowed. But picking your fingernails into one side of it is not allowed. But I just like the idea of, you know, it's quite genteel and then you can try and break the guy's face. That's quite good. Ask me why carrots are orange, but they have been bred in England to be orange because William of Orange, when he came over, it was one of his things to celebrate. Yeah, a carrot. Well, there should be beetroot colour. Sometimes that can be a foil. It can be deceptive. It can be an illusion. Because the Dutch were the first to bring oranges over from Spain. It was a sign of wealth, and oranges appear in a lot of Dutch or Flemish 16th century paintings. Well, if you look at the Arnolfini portrait, for example, orange by the window, the European gene is only about 25,000 years old. We're on average 4% Neanderthal. But Africans, of course, are 100% human. They're not no Neanderthal in them at all. The African gene is about 50, 60,000 years old.
So there really should be reverse racism because Neanderthals are inferior, definitely an inferior species.
Well, actually they weren't. They had a bigger brain than us. But we did a lot of killing them and we did a bit of mating with them, apparently. There's plenty of evidence that we used to eat them. What they weren't very good at was communication. They kept each group, each cluster, a bit like chimpanzees today. Each cluster was self-contained, and they were very poor at conveying advances in technology and spreading the word, which is what humans are very good at. And it's interesting that we're so obsessed with mobile phones and texting people, and we're still doing it, aren't we?
Oh, a zebra.
Okay. That's what eventually they think wiped the Neanderthal race out. So they think that humans were down to about 500 people at one point. Aboriginals in Australia descended from Africa. They would have walked that journey when the continents were together. There's lots of evidence that they are connected. If you look at their Aboriginal art, you can see in South Africa very, very similar cave paintings and anthropomorphic art where depictions of humans are morphed into animal forms. I think I'm right in saying that we would have existed at one point with several different other species of human. Yeah.